What's up, everybody? It's Polish Pete. I'm here with Brad Leuthner, Bassmaster EQ angler, and we are in the studio here, or not in the studio, we're actually in the warehouse here at Omnia Fishing in Golden Valley, Minnesota, and we're going to talk about the Toledo Bend Bassmaster Open.
Ooh.
A bit of a sore subject right now for this guy because he had a killer day one, and we're going to ask him some questions about basically your event down there in Texas. When you were doing your research for Toledo Bend, first time being there, if I'm right?
First time, yep.
Yeah. What were your thoughts going into it before you got to practice? What did you think was going to go down?
Well, I mean, you can watch the Bassmaster Elites have been there. It seemed like a deep cranker, find hard spots, and probably fish deep crankbaits, big swim baits, spoons, stuff like that, shaky head. Yeah. Offshore type stuff, probably.
Was that what you found in practice, or was it different?
It's crazy when you get there. Like you can't understand how much timber's in the water when you're on that lake. It's crazy. You're driving down snowmobile lanes. I mean, it's scary as hell. I mean, the lake takes forever to navigate because there's two trails going down the lake. If you want to go fish a flat that's a half mile or a mile off that trail, you have to idle, otherwise you're wrecking everything. So, you know, I underestimated how much time it would take to do all this, and during practice we figured out it was really tough to get a bite. There was fish out deep, there was a little bit of a shad spawn going on, and there's still fish on beds, there's fish guarding fry. Basically they were in every stage you can imagine except wintering.
All stages of the spawn. Yeah. That's fun. So talk about that a little bit, about how much I think a lot of people don't understand how limited your time is now with the new format to figure out a giant body of water that you've never been to.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically fishing a body of water. I think it's 4 or 5 times as big as Mille Lacs. So yeah. I mean, it's huge, and you basically got to figure out, you know, it's tough to get a bite to start the first pattern, and we only have 4.5 days, which it's plenty of time, but, you know, you can eat up time. You can go, like I did one day, I spent real deep because I've heard, you know, through the grapevine, you hear a lot of dock talk when you're down there, that they're catching them in 25 to 35 feet of water, and actually I'd figured out something really good, and I got off of it for dock talk, and big mistake on my part, probably why I finished poorly, but yeah, lesson learned, you know.
So go into that. What did you figure out in practice that you thought was going to be a key player that you got talked out of there?
Well, I found this little off the wall, like little point, like it wasn't much of anything on the main lake. The main lake seemed to be the biggest player, I mean, in my practice and tournament, and kind of worked out that way for the top 10, it looked like too, but I found this little spot, and it's just a little kick out on the main lake up next to the river channel, and it turned out being clay, which, you know, being from Minnesota, we don't fish clay. So, and I pulled up there in practice, and I saw like 5 big fish sitting there. I threw one cast up there with the Carolina rig, caught a 4.5 pounder. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And as I was dragging the Carolina rig across, it felt like gravel to me. Mm-hmm. But after the first day of the tournament, that spot really saved me the first day. I kind of struggled on a few deeper spots I had, pulled up to the shallow clay spot, caught back-to-back 5 pounders. But I noticed on my sinker, there was clay on it. I'm like, oh, yeah. So clay was the player down there. If you talk to anyone in the top 10, clay was the deal. Okay,
gotcha. So I saw we were all fired up day one. You came in, you had a good bag. Yeah. So what happened? You get off the water. Did you have to make a major adjustment day 2? Did you dry that up? Did you catch all those fish and those spots dried up on you, or was it just a shift in the attitude of the fish, the position?
I think besides Milliken, you really saw a huge drop off the second day. I think I was talking to Louis after the tournament, and he does all the statistics stuff, and the first day the average bag was 12.5 pounds. The second day the average bag was 8 pounds. Yeah. So it dropped a lot, and I think everyone, I mean, a couple guys in my house did very well the first day. Adam Rass had 26 pounds the first day with a 14.5 incher. So the big bites were there, but very hard to get. You had to just sit in an area and wait for them to turn on. And honest to God, my best spot, I never caught a bass during the tournament. Like my best practice spot, I caught a 6-pounder there in practice. I could see him down there, and it was one of these deals where if the gizzard shad or the shad would just blow over it right, you could catch them, but you had to be sitting there. So it was one of these deals. I spent a lot of time chasing that, and the second day, it just didn't go there, and then I went to my little clay spot, and there's 2 locals sitting on it. So that's another thing people don't understand. When you head down south, there are huge bodies of water, but people fish a lot. Like, there's 1,000 boats on Toledo Bend every day. I mean, it's very busy.
That's crazy. So Monday morning quarterbacking it, right? If you could redo day 2, what would you have done different, or do you think you just would have done the same thing and just hoped that it would have worked out better?
If I had to change anything for the whole tournament, one thing, I had a little bit of a shad spawn deal going in the mornings. Yeah. And I never did it. I was too worried about getting to these deep schools and so no one else would get there. So I'm kind of disappointed with that because I didn't know how hard it was going to get the second day. Yeah. And it really got hard, so just a few bass. I didn't even have a limit the second day. I didn't even catch a bass the second day until like 3:30 or 3 o'clock. So. Wow. And then at the end of the day, we noticed in practice, because me and Brucey talk and Ras, that the shad would get really active towards the ends of the days, out deep. Yeah. And we just never really capitalized on that. I wish we would have figured that out a lot better.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for sharing your experience down there on Toledo Bend. We look forward to the next one. Where's the next one at? Is it
Bugs? We're going to the Bug in Virginia. That should be a good one. And they're ready next week, so got to get traveling again.
Well, good luck. We look forward to your recap from your next one.